Yo, what's up, you assholes? All right, let me get this chat up. Tanjung Yang Jet, how's it going? Hey, Steve, man. His name is Steve, and he's a man. Kuria, what's up, Kuria? Hope, hey, Hope, welcome back. Freddy, welcome back. Hope says, I thought to change a certain way I parent. Instead of grounding or timeout, I would make them eat durian. No, I did say that was evil. That's evil, and you should be ashamed. Durians are disgusting and should be banned. Hey, Bruno. What's up, Nikki? Hey, Losh, welcome back. Patrick. Dun, 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 dun. Kuria is sneaking his phone next to his ear, so he can listen while finishing work. I approve. Hey, what's up, Drift? Hey, Trenton Quarantino. How's it going? You would make your son sniff durian. That's disgusting. You're all degenerates. Alligator Joe. Hey, Katie. Oh, Jason called me a cool guy. Hey, you're a cool guy too. Okay. I think last time we were making fun of my Sean Connery impression. So I've been practicing. You ready? All right. This is my Sean Connery. Greetings, Q. Hand me that gun. That's also a TV. There you go. That's my Sean Connery. How you like that? What's up, Bigfoot? We got Bigfoot up in here. It's almost Christmas, you guys. Huh. We got like what? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? No, 4 weeks. 3 weeks. Oh, the worst time of the year. I gotta go find presents now. How do you guys do that? Like, how do you guys have any strategies? How do you think of what to buy people? I don't understand. I always have a hard time just thinking of what to buy, what gifts to buy people. Do you guys have any strategies? Like regifting old gifts? Maybe I should do that. Da-na-na. It needs to be a little bit more British. Yes, please offer me suggestions on the Sean Connery. It needs to be more British. Does it now? All I know is I gotta lisp. I gotta emphasize that S sound. Hey, Emerald Emperor. That's a cool name. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I should wear a friggin' Santa hat, huh? That'd be fun. Painting pictures is a good way to make a gift. That's a lot of work, though. I like to buy random. Yeah, I like to buy stuff. Painting pictures is way too hard. Ballerine loves cats. I like cats too. Okay. I got some food to eat before we do this. Look at this. Look at this stuff. This is from Baksu. Yeah, it's nice to have a sponsor that makes food. Says this product of potato chips is used butter made in Hokkaido. So it's buttered chips, I guess. Butter potato chips. That sounds really good, actually. So let's see. I had it in the beginning. Just draw out every second word. What? Greetings, Q. Like that. Mark Taylor. No, that's not good. Dun, dun, dun. Alcohol, like buy wine. Wine is a good thing. Yeah. All right, let's see. Oh shit, I didn't open it. Where the camera is. So this is, yeah, butter potato chips. Let's see. I can kind of taste the butter. No, it's definitely kind of there. I can taste the salt more though, but it's not bad. Oh, wow. Apparently this is a new taste. Butter chips. Never had it before, but it's good. Amy, you send the cards? Nah, I hate cards. Cards seem like way too low effort. Even though like buying stuff is pretty low effort too. But cards, it's just seems way too low effort. Do you guys keep your cards? I have to admit, I just throw away my cards. Like if anyone gives me a card, I'll read it. Obviously, I'll read it. Like I'm not a barbarian, right? I'm not heartless. But I'll read it and then I'll just throw it away. I know people who keep it in a box or something, like keep their cards somewhere in their drawers or in a special place. No, I keep it in the garbage. Freddie, you had a spicy mustard chips. That sounds not so good. But but I'll trust you. Maybe I'll try to find that. Good day, you Hin Tom. Money is the ultimate low effort gift. But I feel like it's what people want the most, honestly. Give them the Chinese have it right. Like the Asian cultures, they have it right. Just give you a red envelope with like $20 in it. I think everyone would appreciate that gift. All right. I think we got a good chapter this chapter. I think we have a good chapter today. So let's see. Let's do a recap of what happened last week. All right. So last week, I did a bad Sean Connery impression. No. Last week was the Ling Hu emo chapter. All right. Our hero, Ling Hu Chong, was very depressed. He was depressed the entire chapter. Because the master is suspicious of him. He thinks that he might have stolen the master's booklet of Qi martial arts, right? And I think maybe most of the other students also suspect him of stealing the master's book. So he's depressed because of that, and also because his younger apprentice sister, Ling Shan, is in love with Lin Pingzhi, okay? And she's not in love with him anymore. So he's super sad. And he's just way too emo the entire chapter. He needs to let her go. All right? Just let her go. Let her go. Can't hold it back anymore. Let her go. Let her go. Turn away and slam the door. Here I stand, and here I'll stay. Let the storm rage on. The cold never bothered me anyway. So they go to visit Wang Yuanba. He was the grandfather of Lin Pingzhi, right? So they have a feast, and they get drunk. And no, Ling Huchong gets drunk, and he's like, he drinks like what? Was it like 100 bowls of wine or something? So he drinks a bunch of wine. He causes a big scene. He's like knocking over plates and glasses and food and stuff. And then he goes out to go gambling. Right? He goes gambling. He's drinking. He wastes all his money. He even pawns off his sword. Okay, which is what he needs right now, because that's his only source of martial arts. So he pawns off his sword, and he also gets beaten up by just street thugs. Right, which sucks for him. He gets rescued. Yeah, he gets rescued by the Wang family. So these punks from the Wong family, they suspect that he's stealing. He stole their booklet, right? This is a different booklet. He stole their martial arts booklet of the Lin family, the evil resisting sword art, right? And they try to get it out of him. So they attack him, and since he doesn't have a sword, he can't really fight back. So they dislocate his arms and they grab a booklet from his pockets, right? And they think that's the evil resisting sword art manuscript, the secret manuscript of martial arts from the Lin family. So, of course, we know that it's not that. It's a music booklet, right? It just has music in it. It's the Smiling Proud Wanderer music booklet that was given to him by Liu Chengfeng and Chu Yan a long time ago. So they bring him out before everyone, and after, so he doesn't reveal that right away because he kind of drags it out a little bit, but then he finally reveals that, hey, these are not. It's not a martial arts manuscript. It's actually just music. All right, and apparently no one knows how to read music, and that's where it ends. It ends on a cliffhanger. That's it. That's the recap. How was that? Yeah, he's totally in the friend zone. Bigfoot, you want me to sing that again? I'm not doing that. No more Frozen. I'll sing like something else. I'll sing something else. What is part of your world? I don't know that. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, Gabriel, you're right. Yeah, Ling Hucheng also believed that he killed his own best friend, right? Right. He was supposed to only paralyze his best friend, but he actually killed him. So his best friend already died. So a lot of things happened. He was very depressed last chapter. All right, and that's where we stopped. From The Little Mermaid? I don't remember any song from The Little Mermaid. Except for that crab song. What was that crab song called? Dun, 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 dun. All right, so yeah, here was the previous chapter. Madame Yue, the master wife, wants to take a look at the booklet. Maybe she can read it, right? Maybe she can read it. Oh yeah, we were also talking on Discord with a couple of people. We were talking about how old the master and the master wife are. So I think we know that the master is 60 years old, right? Yeah, he's around there. He's 60 years old. But the master wife, his wife, is actually in around her late 30s and 40s. I think that's what we determined. So she's a super young wife compared to the master. We also know, because the book says, that if you have a strong chi, it means you look younger, right? So some people with strong chi tend to look younger. So maybe the reason why Master is super into that chi stuff, because he just wants to look good for his young wife, right? He wanted to keep up with her, you know. So he looks around 40s too, in his 40s, right? So he looks very young for someone who's in his 60s. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so the master wife takes the book, and here we go. All right, chapter 13, Learning Music, part 2. After flipping through several pages and browsing through, Madame Yue herself had no clue as to what this booklet was about. I can't read music scores myself, though I have seen sword art manuscripts before, This booklet really doesn't look like a sword art manuscript. Grandmaster Wang, is there anyone in your house that knows how to play zither or flute? We might as well ask him to take a look. Then we would know for sure, Madame Yue suggested. Wang Yuanba hesitated, afraid that if this really were just a music score booklet, how embarrassing it would be. So he didn't answer right away. Wang Jiaju, on the other hand, was a total blockhead and shouted in a loud voice, Grandpa, our accountant, Mr. Yi, can play the flute. We can ask him to take a look at this. This clearly is the evil resisting sword manuscript. How can it be a music score booklet? There are many types of martial arts manuscripts. Some people would intentionally write martial arts formulas or techniques in the form of a music score in order to keep it a secret so others wouldn't be able to pry about. That's not at all surprising, Wang Yuanba immediately added. If this mister in your house knows how to play the flute, then he would be able to tell if this really is a sword art manuscript or a music score for flute, Madame Yue insisted. Yeah, it looks like she can't read music. Unfortunately. But hopefully this Mr. Yi guy knows. Having no other choice, Wang Yuanba asked Wang Jiaju to get Mr. Yi, the accountant of the house. Soon he came back together with Mr. Yi. He was a thin and short man in his 50s. He had a sparse goatee on his chin, but his clothing looked neat and clean. Mr. Yi, will you please take a look at this booklet and tell us if it's an ordinary zither score or flute score? Wang Yuanba asked. Mr. Yi opened the zither portion of the booklet and glanced over a couple of pages. Sorry, I don't know much about this part. He shook his head. He quickly skimmed to the flute portion of the booklet, and suddenly his eyes brightened as he started humming along the music score in a low voice and drumming two of his fingers on the table simultaneously. After a while, he shook his head again. This can't be right. He continued humming along, but suddenly the pitch of his voice went very high, and only seconds later it dropped very slow. This is impossible. Well, I really don't understand this, he muttered with a frown. Is there anything suspicious about this booklet? It is very different from an ordinary music score? Wang Yuanba asked with a happy face. Oh, master, please look here. Mr. Yi pointed at the flute score. This is the gong major here. But it suddenly turned into the wei minor. That's totally against musical theories, and it would be impossible for a flute to play. Then from here it suddenly turned into the jiao major. That's something I've never seen before. It's simply impossible to play such music using a flute. Huh. You don't know how to play it? It doesn't mean others don't know how to play it, Ling Hucheng sneered. You're absolutely right, Mr. Yi nodded. But if someone is able to play music like this, I would sincerely admire him from the very bottom of my heart. Certainly the very bottom of my heart. Unless he is in the East Town. You said that this is no ordinary flute score, and some of the tones are impossible to play using a flute, right? Wang Yuanba cut him off. Yes. Definitely not ordinary. Definitely not ordinary. I will never be able to play something like that, unless he is in the East Town, Mr. Yi nodded. Which great musician in the East Town can play this music? Madame Yue asked. Well, I can't guarantee it, but there's this elder Bamboo Green from the East Town who can play both the zither and the flute, Mr. Yi answered. Maybe he can play it. His skills in playing the flute are way better than mine, way better indeed. We are not even talking about the same league here. Certainly not the same league. If this is no ordinary music score for flute, then there must be more behind it, Wang Yuanba said. Wang Bofen had been listening quietly by the side. He suddenly cut in. Father, isn't the 4 ways, 6 harmonies knife form of the 8 diagrams knife dojo in Zhangzhou also recorded in a music score? Wang Yuanba immediately understood. He knew that his son was just making things up. The family of the 8 diagrams knife dojo headmaster, Mo Xing, had been in-laws with the Wang family for generations. Their dojo didn't have anything named the 4 Ways 6 Harmonies knife form, but he figured that since the Huashan Sword School only focused in sword arts, whether another school had this knife form or not, Yue Buchun wouldn't have known, even though Yue Buchun had good knowledge of the martial world. So he nodded. That's right. In-law Mo certainly mentioned about it several years back. Recording knife arts or sword arts in music scores is nothing unusual at all. So they're trying to pin this on him, right? They're trying to pretend that this is actually sword martial arts hidden in music score. I think someone guessed that. So good job, whoever guessed that. Dun, dun. It's a dubstep score. That's funny. Oh no, Freddy. No, why? Don't say that. Since it's nothing unusual at all, then would you, Grandmaster Wang, enlighten me and tell me what exactly are recorded in these 2 music scores? Ling Huchong asked with a smirk. That, alas, my son-in-law has passed away. Therefore, other than you, I am afraid there's not another one who would be able to understand the secret in the music score. Wang Yuanba heaved a long sigh. If Ling Huchong had wanted to plead innocence, he could have simply told the origin of the Smiling Proud Wanderer music score, but then inevitably he would have to mention about how the Hangshan Sword School's great Mr. Mo had killed great Songyang Palm Fei Bin, and that would certainly bring severe consequences. Also, once Master found out that the music score was really related to the demon cult elder Chu Yang, for sure Master would have it destroyed right away. Then he would not be able to fulfill his promise to the dead. With these in his mind, he held his anger and responded calmly. So you see the predicament that he's in, right? He can't reveal the origin of the book, of the music score. So what do you do? Since this Mr. Yi mentioned that there's an elder bamboo green who is an expert in music, why don't we take the music score over to let him examine it? That elder bamboo green is a weirdo who acts like a madman. How can we believe any word out of his mouth? Wang Yuanba shook his head. But we must get to the bottom of this matter, Madame Yue replied. Chong is our apprentice, and Pingzhi is also our apprentice. We can't grant favor to either side. To find out who's right and who's wrong, we might as well ask that elder bamboo green to give a judgment. She didn't want to say that this was a dispute between Ling Huchong and the Golden Blade Wang family, so she conveniently replaced the Wang family with Lin Pingzhi. Mr. Yi, would you please send a wagon for this elder bamboo green? Madame Yue requested. Well, this old gentleman is very eccentric folk. When people ask him for favors, if it's something that he doesn't care, he won't pay any attention to it, even if you kowtow to him at his door. But if he decides to intervene, you can't even push him away, Mr. Yi replied. That sounds just like us martial people, Madame Yue nodded. I suppose this elder bamboo green must be a senior master in the martial arts society. Senior apprentice brother, we have certainly been really ignorant. That elder bamboo green is merely a craftsman skilled in making baskets and floor mats with bamboo strips. He is no martial master, Wang Yuanba replied with a smirk. He plays the zither and the flute well, and also paints pictures of bamboos. Many people buy his paintings. He is just an old craftsman posing as a lover of art, and does attract a certain local crowd. It would be a pity if we don't pay a visit to such a figure while we are in Luoyang. Grandmaster Wang, would you please be kind enough to accompany us and pay a visit to such an elegant craftsman? Madame Yue asked. Seeing that Madame Yue was quite determined to go, Wang Yuanba had to agree. So, led by Mr. Yi, Wang Yuanba, his sons and grandsons set out for the east town with the Ye Bu-chun couple, Ling Huchong, Lin Pingzhi, Yue Lingshan, and other Huashan apprentices. The group went through several small streets and came upon a very narrow alley. A large bush of bamboos occupied the end of the alley. Swaying gently in the breeze, they set an elegant tone to the surroundings. As soon as the group stepped into the alley, dim sound of zither play echoed in their ears pleasantly. Someone was playing a song. The alley appeared to be so refreshing and peaceful that it almost seemed as if this was an entirely different world, totally isolated from the crowded city outside. "This elder Bamboo Green certainly knows how to enjoy life," Madame Yue whispered. Suddenly, a clank echoed as one of the zither strings snapped, and the zither play halted abruptly. Oh no, this is another old voice. I can't do two old voices. They're gonna have to sound the same. Respectful guests have arrived at my humble shack. Is there something you want to see me about? An old voice rose from inside. Elder, we have this old zither and flute music score. Would you be kind enough to examine it for us? Mr. Yi announced. You have a zither and flute music score and want me to examine it? You really flatter an old craftsman, Elder Bamboo Green answered. Before Mr. Yi even had a chance to respond, Wang Jiaju had already shouted out, Grandmaster Wang from the Golden Blade Wang family is here to visit. He had thought that because his grandfather was a very important figure in the city of Luoyang, as soon as he mentioned his grandfather's name, the old craftsman would for sure rush out to meet them. But all he got in return were Elder Bamboo Green's sneers. Golden blade or silver blade? It's no better than the old craftsman's rusty iron blade. An old craftsman doesn't need to visit Mr. Wang, and there's no need for Master Wang to visit an old craftsman either. Wang Jiaju was infuriated. Grandpa, this old craftsman is a moron with no manners. We don't need to see him. Let's go home, he said loudly. Since we are already here, we might as well ask Elder Bamboo Green to take a look at the music score, Madame Yue insisted. Wang Yuanba snorted as he handed the music score booklet to Mr. Yi, who in turn took the booklet and walked behind the bush of bamboos. You can put it down here. Elder Bamboo Green's voice rose from the inside. Elder, this is a real music score or some kind... Elder, is this a real music score? Or some kind of secret martial arts manuscript with formulas and techniques written in disguise in the form of a music score? Mr. Yi asked. Secret martial arts manuscripts? Are you out of your mind? Of course, this is a music score. Elder Bamboo Green reproached, and moments later, sound of zither rose again, graceful and pleasant. Ling Huchong listened to the music and soon remembered the melody. The same melody Liu Changfeng had played that day. The music was the same, but the previous player had long perished. Ling Huchong couldn't help but feel mournful. Not far into the music, the pitch of the zither sound suddenly went higher and higher until it almost sounded like a shrill whistle. Clank! One of the zither strings snapped. And as the sound went even higher, another clank echoed with another string snapped. Elder Bamboo Green uttered a cry of surprise. The zither score is really odd. I don't understand. Wang Yuanba and his two sons and two grandsons exchanged looks among themselves, all looking content and triumphant. Let me try the flute score. Elder Bamboo Green muttered, and soon the sound of a flute rose from behind the bamboo bush. At the beginning, the flute sounded melodious and pleasant, depicting a romantic scene, but then the pitches of the flute sound turned lower and lower till it was almost impossible to recognize, and after several more notes, the sound became hoarse and turned into very unpleasant noises. Elder Bamboo Green heaved a sigh. Little brother Yi, you played the flute yourself. Don't you know it's impossible to play anything with such a low pitch? The zither score and the flute score aren't necessarily fakes, but the composer is certainly being deliberately mystifying. And perhaps is playing jokes on us. Why don't you go home first and let me ponder over this a bit more? Sure, Mr. Yi answered, and then walked out from behind the bamboo bush. Where's the Sword Arts manuscript? Wang Zhongqiang asked. Sword Art manuscript? Oh, Elder Bamboo Green wants to keep it for a while, so he can ponder over it some more, Mr. Yi answered. Go get it back, quick. This is an invaluable Sword Arts manuscript. Do you have any idea how many people in the martial world want to get their hands onto this? How can we leave it in the hands of someone totally irrelevant? Wang Zhongqiang admonished hurriedly. All right, Mr. Yi replied and turned around to head back toward the back of the bamboo bush again, when Elder Bamboo Green's voice suddenly rose again. Auntie, why have you come out? How old is the Elder Bamboo Green? Wang Yuanba asked in a whisper. In his 70s, close to 80 years old, I guess, Mr. Yi answered. If an 80-year-old man still called her his auntie, then this old granny had to be at least 100 years old. Everybody thought of the same thing. A woman's voice acknowledged with a muffled, Auntie, please take a look at this. This music score is very strange, Elder Bamboo Green explained. The woman acknowledged again with a muffled, Then the sound of strings being plucked rose. Apparently someone was tuning the zither. Then it fell quiet for a moment as the snapped strings were probably being replaced with the new ones. After some more tuning sounds, the granny started playing. At the beginning, it sounded the same as how Elder Bamboo Green had played. Then the pitch of the zither sound went higher and higher. But this time, it somehow transformed into a higher scale, smoothly and pleasantly, as if it were never difficult to start with. Ling Wuchong was half surprised and half joyous. He could vaguely remember that this was exactly the same melody he had heard Chu Yang play that night. The melody sometimes sounded impassionate and moving, yet sometimes turned elegant and gentle. Although Ling Wuchong didn't know anything about music, he could tell that the artistic conception this granny had interpreted was quite different from what Chu Yang had interpreted, even though they were playing the exact same melody. The granny's play sounded placid and gentle, making the listeners truly appreciate the exquisiteness of good music, but it lacked the exciting surges Chu Yang's play was able to bring out. After a long while, the music gradually slowed down, as if the music was drifting further and further away, and the zither player had slowly walked away hundreds of feet and then miles away. The notes became so subtle that it simply faded into the gentle breeze. Oh, hey, Rage. Hi. You're from Singapore? Awesome. I'm from the United States. Dun, 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 dun. Just when the sound of the zither was about to fade away, a couple of very low and delicate flute sounds rose next to the sound of the zither. The sweet sound of the flute circled in the air and turned louder and louder, as if the flute player had walked closer and closer while playing the flute continuously. The sound was clear and melodious, sometimes high and sometimes low, sometimes gentle and sometimes loud. When everyone thought that the sound was already at its lowest, after some twirls, it would turn even lower. Although subtle and mild to the extreme, every syllable was still clearly recognizable. Gradually, some high-pitched notes would occasionally break out from the low-pitched melody, like pearls falling into a jade plate, and bounced back and forth, short and brisk. As one fell down, another one would bounce back. Then more and more sounds joined and echoed each other. First, it was like a spring streaming down a mountain path, echoing as the little waves splashed over the narrow banks. Then it turned into a garden full of colorful flowers, each blossoming so vividly in a competition to earn a glance from the dancing butterfly. There was also the choir from the many kinds of birds echoing each other here and there, praising the efforts of the various blossoms, and singing joyously about the beauty of the season. Then gradually the many birds flew away one after another as the spring season quietly stepped away, and the petals from the withered blossoms swirled in the air, performing their sad dance falling toward the ground. Then the rain came, which painted everything in a color of gloom and made the leaves rustle. It was now cold and dreary and lifeless. All there was left was the drizzle now, so tiny that no one could tell when it went from on to off and then from off to on again. And finally, everything fell into an ultimate silence. I think I was supposed to read that in a beautiful way, but I didn't. Only a long while after the flute had stopped playing did everyone realize the silence. All felt as if they had just come out of a dream. Although Wang Yuanba, Yue Buchun, and the many others didn't know much about music, they all found themselves deeply intoxicated by the magic of the music. And Mr. Yi simply froze there in a trance, as if his soul had faded together with the music and was no longer inside his body. Madame Yue heaved a sigh in great admiration. Admirable, very admirable. Chong, what's the name of the music? It's called the Smiling Proud Wanderer song, Ling Wuchang answered. This granny has such incredible skills, and it is even rarer that someone could have such supreme skills in both zither and flute. The composer certainly did a fantastic job writing the music, but it sure takes someone like this granny with such superb skills to be able to bring the best out of it. It must be the first time for you to listen to such wonderful melody, Madame Yue remarked. Actually, no. Last time when I heard it, it sounded even more spectacular, Ling Wuchang replied. Really? How can there be anyone with even better zither and flute skills than that granny? Madame Yue asked in surprise. Not necessarily better than this granny, but when I heard such wonderful music the last time, there were two players. One played the zither, and the other one played the flute, and they were also playing this Smiling Proud Wanderer song. Even before he even finished his sentence, 3 plucking sounds came from behind the bamboo bush as the granny whispered something in a very low voice. Vaguely, it sounded like that she had said, zither and flute playing together? Where can I ever find the other one? Elder Bamboo Green's voice rose again, loud and clear. Mr. Yi, this is indeed a music score. My auntie had just played it. You can take it back now. Yes, Mr. Yi replied. He stepped behind the bamboo bush and soon returned, holding the music score booklet with both hands. Ah, vindicated! Ugh! Now they know it's a music score book and not a martial arts manuscript. Oh, Brandon, my voice is very soothing. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see what these people say now that they know that it's actually music. Such fine work of art as this one, recorded in the booklet, is very rare and very hard to come by. Such wonder should never fall into the hands of vulgar people, and you should never have the wishful thinking of studying this music piece recklessly. It would only cause you more harm than gain, Elder Bamboo Green added. Yes, I would never even dare, Mr. Yi replied sincerely, and then handed the music score booklet back to Wang Yuanba. Wang Yuanba had heard the spectacular performance himself, and knew that it couldn't have been a fake. Returning the booklet back to Ling Wuchang, he said in an awkward tone, Nephew Ling Hu, we are truly very sorry. Ling Wuchang answered with a sneer and was just about to add some satirical words when he saw Madame Yue shaking her head at him, so he swallowed them back down. Feeling so embarrassed, Wang Yuanba, his 2 sons, and the 2 grandsons left before everyone else. Yue Buchun and the many apprentices also followed. But Ling Wuchang remained, holding the music score booklet in his hands. He stood there like a statue. Chong, aren't you going back now? Madame Yue asked. I just want to stay here a bit longer, Ling Huchong answered. Don't be too late. Go back and take a good rest. I'll be careful with your arms. They were pretty dislocated, pretty badly. Don't try anything heavy, Madame Yue exhorted. I got it, Ling Huchong replied. After the group left, the small alley was quiet once again. The only occasional sound breaking the silence were the rustling of the bamboo leaves in the gentle breeze. Staring at the music score in his hands, Ling Huchong remembered how Liu Chengfeng and Chu Yang had performed the music together in that late night. That old man voice was hot. Are you into old people? I wasn't going for hot with that old man voice. Yeah, DD. If only they knew this music was composed by the two masters that they condemned. Too bad he can't reveal the secret, though. Alright, let's take a break, guys. Let's take a 5-minute break while I play music that includes a Chinese zither and flute. Yeah, Losh sent this to me, so let me play it. Alright, be right back. 5 minutes. Alright, I'm back. You guys like that? That was pretty funny. You love the twang? The twang? The twang? Dun, 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 dun. Alright. Yeah, I think I'm gonna eat something else. So I like that last part. Like, I like how that Wang family were so embarrassed that they had to hang their head in shame and walk back. Dun, dun, dun. Look at this. Melty blend. From Meiji. Look, looks like the Meiji government came back and they're making candy now. It is green tea. I don't know what this is. What is that? Alright, I'm excited. How do you open this? Oh, okay. They're all in individual packets. Which, I don't know, seems like a waste, but we'll see. Huh. They're like chocolate squares. A little bit of chocolate powder on the outside. Let's see what's inside. It's green tea. That's what it says on the packet. Good shit. The chocolate and green tea taste really good together. You like my hand? I have very, very delicate hands. Wait, don't look at this part. Look at the back. The palm doesn't look so delicate. What candy? Okay, I'll show it again. It's called Melty Blend. It's a green tea. Green tea inside and outside is chocolate. A little chocolate powder sprinkled on it. Pretty good. What is the time in the land of the rising sun? Well, I'm not there. I'm in the US of A. I'm in California. So I don't know. What's the time in Japan right now? I may make a good pianist. I don't think so. I'm terrible. I know how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb, and that's it. You never had chocolate and green tea together? It's really good. Yeah, they kind of enhance each other. So they're greater than the whole. You hate December, the days are too short, and the winter is too unpredictable. Well, the winters are friggin' shorter these days, right? Usually, I don't know. Am I just misremembering? Because usually by September it used to be already cold. Nowadays, September is still hot. It's still summer temperatures, and at least here in California, it only got colder around like the beginning of November or mid-November, which is really late. Usually, I had to wear. Usually by September, I've already had to wear sweaters when going outside, but not this year. The U.S. of the rising A. Thanks, Drift. My hands are very dainty. Yes, yes, they are. Winter is your favorite? Summer is my favorite. Winter is too cold for me. Even though I know I live in California and I shouldn't be complaining, but it's still too cold for me. Anything under 55 or 60, but maybe anything under 60 is cold to me. All right. You sleep best in winter. No, it's true. It's true. Like when it's cold and then you're under a blanket and you're kind of cozy in the blanket. But else outside, like you know if you take out the blanket, it gets it gets cold. Yeah, so that feeling when you're cozy and you're warm inside your blanket, that's a really cozy feeling. If I want to see cold, go to the northeast. Well, that's why I'm not there, isn't it? That is way too cold. I cannot survive. 26 degrees. You're crazy. Are you even alive right now, Bigfoot? Like, I don't think you're alive. I think you've frozen to death. Okay. All right. So Ling Hu Chong is staying. So the group leaves. Ling Hu Chong stays, probably to talk about what happened and how the origin of the music score, and probably to convince them to, I don't know, maybe he found the person who can play the zither, right? Maybe he found a player for the music score, which was his goal, right? He's supposed to find someone who can play the zither and find someone who can play the flute. So maybe he found one person. After the group left, the small alley was quiet once again. The only occasional sound breaking the silence were the rustling of the bamboo leaves in the gentle breeze. Staring at the music score in his hands, Ling Huchong remembered how Liu Chengfeng and Chu Yang had performed the music together in that late night. The two of them were so lucky to have found their intimate friendship in each other and composed such a wonderful piece together, he thought to himself. Even though the granny behind the bamboo bush has incredible skills in playing both the zither and the flute, she could only play the two parts separately. The elder bamboo green couldn't play the music together with her. Maybe this smiling proud wanderer song, written for a zither and a flute, to play together would perish forever, and I would never have the opportunity to hear it ever again. His mind fell blank for a little while before he thought again. Uncle Master Liu and Elder Chu, one was a senior master of the chivalrous side, while the other was an elder of the demon cult. One represented the righteousness, while the other one represented evil. They should have been completely irreconcilable, but when they talked music to each other, they could feel each other's hearts, and ended up being bosom friends, bosom buddies. They were also able to compose such magnificent and spectacular piece of Smiling Proud Wanderer song together. When the two of them left this world together, hand in hand, there were really no regrets in their hearts. That was so much better than what I have. That was so much better than what I have to endure right now, living a lonely life in this world, suspected by my master, forsaken by my little apprentice sister, while the only apprentice brother who respected me and loved me died in my own hands. His heart was swelled by grief and sorrow. Tears ran across his cheeks and dripped onto the music score booklet. Ling Hu Chong couldn't help but choke with sobs. He's a sensitive guy, guys. Elder Bamboo Green's voice came from behind the bamboo bush again. Friend, may I ask why you are crying? Oh, I just grieved about my own life experiences, besides remembering how the two senior masters who composed this music piece passed away. I must have forgotten myself. I'm so sorry. It's my fault that I have disturbed your peace, Ling Hu Chong answered. After these words, he turned around to leave. Little friend, would you please step in here and have a word with an old man? I'd like to consult you on a few questions, Elder Bamboo Green invited. That caught Ling Hu Chong in a bit of surprise. He had seen the arrogant attitude the Elder Bamboo Green put on display toward Wang Yuanba, and didn't expect such courtesy toward him, a nobody at all. What's a boob friend? Yeah, it's a friend that's close to your heart, close to your boobs. Okay? That's your BFF. That's your boob friend forever. You flattered me. Anything Elder wishes to ask about, I will answer to the best of my knowledge, he answered, and then walked through the bush of bamboo. What came to his eyes were 5 small cabins, 2 on the left and 3 on the right, and all made out of thick bamboo poles. An old man strolled out from a cabin on the left with a bright smile on his face. Little friend, please come in and join me for some tea. Ling Hu Chong took a good look at the Elder Bamboo Green. The old man's back was a bit hunchbacked. His head was almost bald. All there left were patches of sparse hair. He had big hands and big feet, yet looking hale and hearty. Ling Hu Chong here pays his respects to an elder. Ling Hu Chong bowed to salute. I've only wasted more years of my life, that's all. Come in, make yourself at home. Elder Bamboo Green smiled. Ling Hu Chong followed him into the small cabin. The furniture inside was all made out of bamboos. A painting of a bamboo bush hung by the wall. The strokes in the painting flowed freely. Together with the many dripping ink spots in shapes of bamboo leaves, the bamboo bush looked thick and dense. A zither and a flute lay on the table. So they're in a bamboo forest, and he has paintings of bamboo inside his home. So it very much matches his name. Elder Bamboo Green poured out some dark green tea from a pottery teapot, and filled a bowl. Please, have some tea, he invited. Ling Hu Chong took the tea bowl in both hands and bowed slightly. Little friend, would you be kind enough to tell me how you ended up with this music score booklet? Elder Bamboo Green asked. At those words, Ling Hu Chong's heart skipped a beat. The story of the music score contained many secrets. That was why he didn't even tell his master and master wife. But that day, when Liu Changfeng and Chu Yang gave him the music score, he had intended to leave this music piece behind, so it would not perish with them. The elder Bamboo Green and his aunt both had excellent understanding of music, and furthermore, his aunt had shown superior skills and understanding in the music piece. The two of them were quite old, but other than these two, where in the world would he be able to find a third one who would be worthy of receiving this music score? Even though there might be someone else in the world that would be an expert in music, since Ling Huchong wouldn't be living for long, the chances of finding that person would be very slim. With these thoughts, Ling Huchong pondered over it for a short while and then answered. The two senior masters who composed this music piece, one had superior skills in playing the zither, and the other one had excellent skills in playing the flute. The two of them became bosom friends and wrote this music piece together. But it was so unfortunate that disaster came upon them, and they left the world at the same time. Right before they passed away, the two senior masters gave the music score to me and asked me to find the right person to pass it on to, so the music piece would not perish together with them. He paused for a second and then continued. Earlier, when I heard Elders' aunt demonstrating her superior skills in both zither and flute, I was so relieved that I finally met the destined owner of this music score booklet. Elder, please, take the music score booklet and give it to the granny, so I can fulfill my promise to the two composers and comfort their souls in the underworld. At that word, he held the music score up with both of his hands, respectfully. But the elder Bamboo Green didn't take it. Please, allow me to ask my auntie first, he said. But I don't know if she is willing to accept it. The granny's voice rose from the little cabin on the left. Mr. Ling Hu is too kind to have presented us with such a wonderful gift, showing his vast generosity. It would be disrespectful to decline, yet embarrassing to accept. Would you be kind enough to enlighten us with the names of those two senior masters who composed this excellent piece? Strangely, her voice didn't sound old in any way. Certainly, Ling Huchong answered. The two senior masters who wrote this, one was Uncle Master Liu Chengfeng, and the other one was Elder Chu Yang. The granny uttered a cry of surprise. So it was them, she murmured. Do you know them? Ling Huchong asked. The granny didn't answer his question. Oh, she knows them. And kept her silence instead. Only after a good while she spoke again. Liu Chengfeng was an elite master in the Hangshang Sword School, but Chu Yang was an elder of the demon cult. The two sides have been bitter enemies for generations. What had made them compose this piece together? I am really lost now. Even though Ling Huchong hadn't even met the granny face to face, from her performance of the zither and flute, he was already convinced that she was an old, kind, and wise lady, aloof from any of the worldly affairs, someone who would never lie to him or sell him out. If she was able to tell who Liu and Chu were, then obviously she was a fellow martial arts master. So he told her everything from the beginning to the end, truthfully. How Liu Chengfeng planned to quit at the gold basin hand-washing ceremony. How Chief Zhuo of the Songshang Sword School sent his command flag to stop the event. How Liu and Chu were hit by Songshan School elite fighters' palm strike. How they performed the music together in the remote valley, and how the two asked him to find the right person to pass on the music piece before they passed away. The only thing he omitted was the part when great Mr. Mo slain Fei Bin. The granny listened quietly. After Ling Huchong finished telling the story, she asked, This is clearly a music score. Why did Golden Blade Wang Yuanba claim that it was a martial arts manuscript? Ling Huchong then took the part about how the Lin Junan couple was fatally wounded by the Qingcheng Sword School and Yu Canghai, how they had asked him to take their last words to Lin Pingzhi, and how the Wang brothers suspected him, and etc., etc. I see, the granny responded. You could have told your master and master wife everything, the reasons and causes. Wouldn't that have saved you a lot of trouble, and kept all these meaningless suspicions off your back? I am only a stranger. Why have you told me everything without reservation? She inquired again after a short pause. Oh, Gurong Yogesh. Thanks so much for the super chat. Do you know who's Joe? What the heck does that mean? Do I know who's Joe? Uh, Joe who? Yeah, I don't understand. I don't quite understand it myself. I guess it's because I was deeply moved by your high demeanor after listening to your graceful performance. I didn't feel suspicious about you, Ling Hu Chong answered sincerely. Then are you saying that you've actually felt suspicious? And are you saying that you actually felt suspicious about your master and master wife? The granny asked. Ling Hu Chong felt a shock in his heart. I dare not. It's only that, in my master's heart, he suspects me a great deal. Alas, I can't really blame that on my respectful master. Joe Mama, thanks. Okay, you got me. That's a joke after my own heart. That's a facepalm worthy joke. From the sound of your voice, I can tell that you lack a solid foundation of inner strength. That shouldn't have happened to a young man in your age. Why is that? Have you recently fallen seriously ill? Or gotten wounded badly? I did get wounded badly. Nephew Bamboo Green, will you please bring this young man to my window so I can check his pulses? Sure, Elder Bamboo Green answered. He led Ling Hu Chong to the window by the little cabin on the left side, and then asked him to put his left hand into the window through the window screen through the window screen made out of thin bamboo sections. Inside the bamboo screen, there was another layer of thin gauze. Ling Hu Chong could only vaguely see the shape of a person, but none of the face. Then he felt 3 ice-cold fingers touching his wrist. The granny started checking his pulse. Remember, checking your pulse means checking you for like any diseases or if you're sick or something. You can tell you in this universe, you can tell a lot just by checking a person's pulse through his wrist, right? It'd be funny AF if that was really his mom. That's funny. Twist. But only a short moment later, she cried out in surprise. This is very odd. A few moments passed before she spoke again. Your right hand, please. After the checking was complete, she fell into dead silence. Senior Master, there's no need to worry about me. I know my life won't last for too long. I really don't give much thought about it, Ling Hu Chong said with a slight smile. Why are you saying that your life won't last long? The granny asked. I accidentally killed my junior apprentice brother, and also lost my master's Divine Art of Violet Twilight manuscript. I only hope that I will be able to find the manuscript soon to return it to my master. After that, I will commit suicide in exchange for my apprentice brother's forgiveness. Divine Art of Violet Twilight manuscript? That's nothing extraordinary. How did you accidentally kill your apprentice brother? Ling Hu Chong then told the story about how the Peach Valley's 6 fairies tried to heal his wounds, how the 6 energy stream. This is a summary of what happened in the last chapters. How the 6 energy streams clashed and smashed against each other inside him. How his little apprentice sister stole Master's invaluable manuscript for him to heal himself. How he refused to read it, and apprentice brother Lu Dayo decided to read for him against his will. How he sealed Lu Dayo's pressure points, and how he must have used too much strength in sealing those points and got Lu Dayo killed. Your apprentice brother didn't die off your hands, the granny concluded after listening to the entire story. He didn't die off my hands? Ling Hucheng was stunned. Your inner strength was not pure. Just by sealing those 2 points, you wouldn't be able to kill him. Somebody else killed your apprentice brother, the granny said firmly. Who killed my apprentice brother, Lu, then? Ling Hucheng murmured. It's not necessary that the one who stole the manuscript is the murderer himself, but at least the two must have some kind of connection, the granny said. Ling Hucheng heaved out a deep breath, feeling so relieved as if a huge rock had just been removed from his chest. He had asked himself the same question before. How could he have killed Lu Dayou by jabbing his 2 pressure points so lightly? But deep in his heart, he had always thought that even if Lu Dayou wasn't killed from his jabs, Lu still died for his sake. How can a true man shirk responsibility, shift the blame onto others, and find excuses for himself? During the past many days, he had seen again and again the intimate relationship between Yue Lingshan and Lin Pingzhi. Out of disappointment and despair, he had really lost his will to live. There was only one thing on his mind, and that was to die and leave this world once and for all. But now, when the granny reminded him, anger swelled in his heart. Revenge! Revenge! I must seek revenge for apprentice brother Lu, he thought aloud. Finally, he realizes that he didn't kill the dude. I think we all knew that, right? Like, there's no way he killed his best friend. Yay! Patrick says Serial Publication has a recap episode. Ah, I see. Yeah, the old lady is his therapist right now. And it worked, right? He took like 5 minutes with her, and he's feeling like he needs revenge. But now he just realized that he didn't kill his friend. You said that there were 6 energy streams clashing inside you, but based on what I read from your pulse, there seem to have 8 energy streams. May I ask why? The granny asked. In loud laughter, Ling Hucheng told her how Monk No Commandment had worked on mending his wounds as well. You have a sanguine disposition. Even though your pulses are in disorder, they showed no sign of frustration. Would you care to listen to another zither music? The granny suggested. You are too kind. I truly appreciate it, Ling Hucheng replied. Soon, music rose again, but this time the melody was ultimately mild and tender, like the sound of a slight sigh, the tender petals of blossoms moistened by the silent morning dews, or the morning breeze stroking the many hanging twigs of the willow tree. Not long into it, Ling Hucheng felt as if his eyelids had grown heavier and heavier. He kept reminding himself, I can't doze off. I am listening to a senior master playing the zither. If I doze off, that would be so disrespectful. But as hard as he tried to stay focused, the drowsiness simply was irresistible. Before long, his eyes were closed. He lay on the ground and fell asleep. Even in his sleep, the soft and gentle music echoed vaguely in his dreams. It almost felt as if a gentle hand was caressing his hair with love and caring, and he had gone back to his childhood, resting in Master Wife's arms and enjoying her tender affection. A good while passed before the sound of the zither finally quieted down. Waking up abruptly, Ling Hucheng stood up hurriedly, looking very embarrassed. Oh no, I am so sorry that I was so impolite to have fallen asleep while listening to your wonderful play. This is so embarrassing, he muttered. Don't blame yourself. I intentionally played that music to lull you into sleep, hoping the music would be able to put the energy streams inside you in order. Why don't you try to channel your inner strength and see if the feeling of nausea has lessened? The granny suggested. Many thanks, Ling Hucheng replied. Feeling very delighted, he sat down on the ground with his legs crossed and started to channel his inner energy. He could feel that those 8 energy streams still charged around inside him, clashing against each other. but that strong feeling of nausea at his chest did lessen quite a bit. He worked some more, trying to gather some inner strength, but only felt dizzier and dizzier. Suddenly his body collapsed to the side. Elder Bamboo Green hurried forth to prop him up, and then walked him back inside the cabin. The Peach Valley Six Fairies and Great Master No Commandment all had resourceful inner energy. The energy streams they planted are too strong to be messed with. For my shallow music play, I am very sorry to have put you through more pain and suffering, the granny apologized. She tried to cure him through her music playing, okay? Because this is what happens. This is what can happen in this universe. She's a bard healer. Yeah. She's a bard. Elder Bamboo Green picked up a writing brush. Dipping it in the black ink, he wrote on a piece of paper, "Ask about learning this song and benefit all your life." Ling Hucheng immediately came to realization. May I be bold enough to ask the senior master to teach me this song so I can slowly improve my injury myself? He asked. Elder Bamboo Green nodded, looking very pleased. Ah, the old man is helping him. Granny did not answer right away. After a moment of pause, she finally asked, "How are your zither skills? Will you please play me a song?" Ling Hucheng blushed. I have never learned how to play the zither before. I really know nothing about it. It was such a bold request for me to have even thought about learning the superior skills from you, senior master. Please excuse my presumptuous head. I better get going now. He bowed deeply toward Elder Bamboo Green. Please wait. It is embarrassing that we couldn't repay the great generosity you have shown us by giving us the wonderful music. It also troubles me deeply that your wounds are so severe to be cured. Nephew Bamboo Green, you can start teaching Mr. Linghu how to play the zither tomorrow. If he has enough patience and can stay in Luoyang for a period of time, then I might as well teach him this song of peace and serenity. In the last several words, her voice almost turned into a whisper, hard to pick up. In the early morning the next day, Ling Hucheng came to the small cabin in the small alley for his first zither lesson. He's learning to play music. Elder Bamboo Green took out a brown-ended zither made from the trunk of a phoenix tree and started to teach Ling Hucheng basic music theories. You guys want to see what that looks like? Dun, dun, dun. I made a mistake before and I said it was this thing, but it wasn't. Here it is. That's what it looks like. There are a total of 12 majors. They are Huangzhong, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not going to do that. They are, and he lists a bunch of majors. These all came from the ancient times. Legend has it that many years ago, Huang Ji commanded Ling Lun to create scales, and Ling Lun was inspired by Phoenix's singing, thus creating the 12 majors. A zither has 7 strings and can play gong, shang, jia, wei, and yu, the 5 scales. Why can't I do the old voice again? The first string plays the Huangzhong major, and the third string plays the gong scale. The 5 tones are manjiao, qingsheng, gongjiao, angong, and ribin. He went ahead and started explaining every single one of them in great detail. Although Ling Hucheng had no prior knowledge of any kind about music theories, because of his natural gift, he picked up everything in a very fast pace. Very satisfied with his progress, Elder Bamboo Green started to teach him the fingering techniques, and also taught him a short song named Vivid Sky Melody. Ling Hucheng followed the song several times and then played it on his own. Even though he missed several notes and his fingering looked jerky, the music depicted a good picture of the vast blue sky, cloudless and spacious. The granny listened in the cabin next to it. When he had finished playing, she let out a gentle sigh. Young Mr. Ling Hu, you have shown great talent in learning the zither. Perhaps it wouldn't be long before you can start learning the Song of Peace and Serenity. Auntie, Elder Bamboo Green said, today is only little brother Ling Hu's first lesson in music. Yet when he played the Vivid Sky melody, he was already able to portray a much better imagery than I could. Sounds of the zither came directly from one's heart. I guess the reason is because he is very broad-minded indeed. Granny, you really flatter me, Ling Hucheng replied. I wonder when the day will come when I will be able to play the Smiling Proud Wanderer song the way you did. You want to play the Smiling Proud Wanderer song? The granny uttered. After hearing Senior Masters' graceful performance yesterday, I felt great admiration. But of course it's just my wishful thinking. Even Master Bamboo Green couldn't play it. I am far from that. Ling Hucheng blushed in embarrassment. The granny fell quiet. After a long while, she finally murmured in a very low voice. If you can play the zither part, of course that would be great. Her voice fell lower and lower, and then a tender sigh followed. For the following 20-some days, Ling Hucheng would always come to the bamboo cabin in the small alley to take his zither lessons, and stay till dusk before leaving. He ate all his lunches at Elder Bamboo Green's place. Though it consisted of only simple vegetables and tofu, he enjoyed it a lot more than the expensive dishes that were served in the Wang family, especially when there were also great wines to go with the lunches every day. Elder Bamboo Green didn't have a great wine tolerance, but all the wine he stored were cream of the crop. He had a great knowledge about wines. Not only did he know the origins of every kind of wine, he was also able to tell the place the wine was made and the year it was made with a single sip. Ling Hucheng had never heard of the many things about wine before, so he not only learned how to play the zither, but also a great deal about wines from Elder Bamboo Green. He sometimes even felt that the theories related to wines were as deep as theories of sword arts or zither play. Several times when Elder Bamboo Green went out to sell handicraft arts made out of bamboos, the granny would then give him lessons behind the bamboo-made screen. As days went by, many of Ling Hucheng's questions regarding the zither play were so advanced that even Elder Bamboo Green didn't know the answer, and the granny had to answer them herself. But Ling Hucheng never had a chance to see the granny's face. Her voice sounded gentle and tender, as if it was the voice of a young girl from a rich family, nothing like the voice of an elderly granny living a poor life in a shabby alley. He figured that it was probably because she had been continuously nurtured by classical music since her young age, and that was why her voice remained pleasant, just like the pleasant music she played even in her old age. Is that how it works? One day, the granny taught Ling Hucheng a new song named Affectionate Thoughts. This was an ancient song from the Han Dynasty with a very sweet and melodious tone. Ling Hucheng first listened to the granny playing it several times and then tried it himself. As the music went on, unconsciously, many memories flashed by his mind. He remembered when Yue Lingshan was still a child many years ago, how the two of them, as a pair of innocent playmates, shared so much joy and fun together. He also remembered the warm affection little apprentice sister had shown when she practiced sword arts in the waterfall with him, when she brought up dinners up the cliff of contemplation for him. Then out of nowhere, Lin Pingzhi came, and how the little apprentice sister became colder and colder toward him. Grief swelled in his heart as he played on. Suddenly, the tone changed into something else, and out came the melody of a Fujian folk song. It was none other than the folk song Yue Lingshan had sung that day when she walked down the cliff. In shock, he immediately stopped playing. You are doing a good job playing this affectionate thoughts with much affection. and a good understanding of the meaning behind it. I guess you must have remembered some past events while you played. But may I ask why the tone suddenly turned into the kind of melody from the Fujian region and sounded almost like a folk song? The granny asked in a mild tone. Ling Huchong had always been a man of a sanguine disposition, and this was something that had smoldered in his heart for months. Feeling very grateful about how the granny had treated him so warmly and kindly for the last 20-some days, he simply couldn't hide it to himself any longer and spilled out all about his bitter love toward Yue Lingshan. Once he started telling the story, he could no longer restrain himself and ended up telling everything from the beginning to the end without any reservation, as if the granny had become his grandmother or mother or a sister. By the time he finally finished telling his story, he felt greatly embarrassed. She really is his therapist. I like that, Losh. Legend says that even in 2020, Ling Huchong still hasn't moved on from his little apprentice sister. He's got to let her go, guys. I'm telling you. No, I'm not singing that again. Granny, he apologized. Sorry that I just babbled on and on with these meaningless things. That is so. Fate cannot be imposed upon. Like the old saying says, everyone has his own fate, so don't envy others. Young Mr. Linghu, although you've lost your present love, it is not to say that you won't find your soulmate another day, the granny replied in a gentle tone, in a gentle voice. I don't even know how many days I still have left in this world. I guess having a family of my own will never be my concern, Ling Huchong said loudly. The granny did not speak another word. Sounds of zither rose again. She started playing the Song of Peace and Serenity. Only minutes into it, Ling Huchong almost fell asleep again. The granny stopped playing. From now on, I will start teaching you this song. It probably will take 10 days to learn the entire song. Then you can play the song every day. Even though your inner strength won't be fully recovered, more or less, it will be somewhat beneficial for you. Yes, Ling Huchong answered. From that day, the granny began teaching Ling Huchong the music score and the fingering techniques. Ling Huchong put in good efforts in memorizing everything, and 4 days soon went by. By the morning of the 5th day, when Ling Huchong was just about to head out to take zither lessons in the small alley, Lao De Noir walked to him in a hurry. Big apprentice brother, master has given his order. We will be leaving here tomorrow. We are leaving tomorrow? Ling Huchong was taken by surprise. He had wanted to say that he hadn't finished learning the zither song, but he swallowed the words back. Master wife asked you to start packing. We will be setting out in the early morning, Lao De Noir added. Nodding his acknowledgement, Ling Huchong came to the bamboo cabin in a trot. I will be leaving Luoyang tomorrow, he said to the granny. The granny was taken by surprise. After a good while of silence, she finally said gently, Why are you in such a hurry? You haven't finished learning the song yet. I was thinking about the same thing, but this is the master's orders. Besides, we are only guests in a foreign town. We really can't live long in someone else's house, Ling Huchong answered. That's true, the granny answered. That day, the granny taught Ling Huchong some more music score and fingering techniques no different from any other day. In the many days spent together with the granny, even though Ling Huchong never saw her face, from the sound of her zither play and the dialogues between the two, he could tell that she had great care for him, as if he was a member of her family. Only that she was not the kind who liked to show her enthusiasm, so occasionally when her words showed some affection, she would immediately mix it up with other things, apparently not wanting him to catch it. In this world, it used to be the Yue Bu Chun couple, Yue Lingshan and Lu Dayou, those four who cared the most for him. But by now, Lu Dayou had passed away. Yue Lingshan cared for Lin Pingzhi wholeheartedly, Instead, and master wife both were suspicious of him, so he naturally felt that the elder Bamboo Green and the granny were the closest to him. I think the master is suspicious of him, but I don't think the master wife is, right? I think I get the feeling that she's on his side. During the day, for several times, he had wanted to tell Elder Bamboo Green that he would like to stay in the small alley, studying zither and flute and also the craftsmanship, instead of going back to the Huashan sword school. But as soon as he remembered the lovely face of Yue Lingshan, he would drop the thought, not able to bear the idea of parting with his dear little apprentice sister. Even if the little apprentice sister stopped talking to me, all I want is to see her once every day. I would be happy, even with just a view from her back, or the sound of her few words, let alone the fact that she never stopped talking to me. Dusk came, and it was time for farewell. Reluctant to leave Elder Bamboo Green and the granny, Ling Huchong walked next to the window of the granny's cabin and knelt down to salute. Vaguely, he could see that behind the bamboo screen, the granny also knelt down to salute back. I have taught you zither skills to repay the great favor you have granted us by giving us the music score. Young Mr. Linghu, why are you saluting me in such a serious manner? The granny's voice rose from inside the cabin. After our parting today, who knows when I would have the pleasure to listen to Senior Master's elegant and magnificent performance. As long as I am still alive, I promise that I would come back to Luoyang once again and pay a visit to Elder and Granny, Ling Huchong replied. Suddenly a thought came to his mind. The two of them are already in their final days. Who knows how many years more would they be able to last? By the time I come back to Luoyang again, they'd probably be gone from this world. Alas, life is almost like a dream. Hard to tell what's real and what's illusory. It is also like a morning dewdrop, so insignificant, so pretty, yet so brief. Very Buddhist. At those thoughts, he choked with sobs. Young Mr. Linghu, at the moment of parting, I have an advice for you, the granny said. Yes, please, bestow your wisdom upon me. I will keep it to my heart, Ling Huchong answered. But for a long while, the granny kept her silence. After another long while, she finally spoke again in her gentle voice. Ominous the martial world is. Do take good care. I got it, Ling Huchong replied, as a feeling of sadness swelled in his heart. He bowed his farewell to Elder Bamboo Green as sound of zither rose again from the small cabin on the left, and the music played was none other than that ancient tone, Affectionate Thoughts. The next day, Yue Buchun and the rest of the group bid their farewell to Wang Yuanba and his two sons. The plan was to go north by boat following the Luo River. Wang Yuanba, his two sons, and his two grandsons came all the way to the wharf to see their guest off. Servants brought onto the boat trays of silver ingots piled high, presents from the Wang family as travel expenses. A sumptuous feast was also catered along the pier for the farewell party. Ever since that day when the Wang Jiajun and Wang Jiaju brothers broke Ling Huchong's arms, Ling Huchong never spoke to anyone in the Wang family ever again. Good. At the moment of parting, he simply turned the whites of his eyes up and stared blankly toward the 5 members of the Wang family as if the Wang family didn't even exist. Yue Buchun almost got a headache because of his head apprentice. He knew that Ling Huchong was a stubborn young man. If he had forced Ling Huchong to salute Wang Yuanba for the farewell, at the current moment he probably would bend to his master's orders and give in, but afterwards he would most probably cause a great deal of trouble for the Wang family and create many disturbances. That was why he thanked Wang Yuanba again and again himself and pretended that he didn't see the rude expression on Ling Huchong's face. Ling Huchong glanced over the crowd by the side with cold shoulder. Boxes and packages of presents were brought on board, and a good number of them were specifically for Yue Lingshan. One after another, maids walked aboard the boat and presented the presents to Yue Lingshan. Here are some cookies and candies for Miss Yue from Granny Wang. These are some dresses for Miss Yue to wear on the road from Madame Wang, and some jewelry for Miss Yue to wear from the other Madame Wang. It almost seemed as if Yue Lingshan was a member of the Wang family. She probably is very close to being a member of that family. Yue Lingshan thanked again and again, happily, with a big smile across her face. Wow, I don't think I can eat that much. That's too many dresses for me. An old man in shabby clothing suddenly walked aboard amid the exciting crowd. Young Mr. Ling Hu, he called out. Seeing that the old man was none other than the elder Bamboo Green, Ling Hucheng was taken by surprise. He immediately stepped forth to greet him. My auntie asked me to give this small present to young Mr. Ling Hu. Elder Bamboo Green raised his arms and presented a long package wrapped in a piece of blue coarse cloth in white flower patterns. Ling Hucheng bowed and then took the package. Many thanks to the senior master. I am truly grateful. He bowed again. The Wang Jiajun and Wang Jiaju brothers caught the entire scene in their eyes, seeing how Ling Hucheng didn't even bother to cast a glimpse to the famous unbeatable golden blade Grandmaster Wang, yet showed such deep respect to an old folk in shabby clothing, they couldn't help but feel enraged. If it hadn't been for the sake of the Yue Bu Chun couple and the many apprentice brothers and sisters of the Huashan school, they would have dragged Ling Hucheng out and given him a good beating to vent their spleen. To vent their spleen? What the heck does that mean? I think that's a typo. To vent their anger? Venting your spleen would be really dangerous. When they saw Elder Bamboo Green step onto the gangboard from the bow to get back ashore after giving Ling Hucheng the package, they gave each other a meaningful glance and then jostled toward the old man with their shoulders abruptly from both sides, thinking that just a slight bump would have sent the old folk falling down into the Luo River. Oh, these guys are assholes. Although the water was quite shallow near the shore and wouldn't drown the old man, at least it would make Ling Hucheng lose a great deal of face. Watch out! Seeing as what was going on, Ling Hucheng called out in a hurry. He was just about to reach out and grab the two brothers when he suddenly remembered that he didn't have any inner strength left in him to go with the grab. He wouldn't be able to grab onto them anyway. Even if he did get his hands onto the Wang brothers, it would be useless just the same. Within seconds, the Wang brother had jumped into Elder Bamboo Green. Don't! Wang Yuanba shouted out. Wang Yuanba knew clearly that he was very different from ordinary martial people, for he had a big family and lots of properties in the city of Luoyang. His two grandsons were both young and vigorous. If this old and feeble folk had died because of the jostle, there would be endless trouble when the law enforcement began their investigation. But since he was sitting inside the cabin talking to Yue Bu Chun at the time, it was already too late for him to stop them. The chat likes vent my spleen. Are we gonna start saying that now? I gotta vent my spleen. A loud thud arose. Wait. A loud thud rose as the two shoulders from the two brothers bumped squarely into Elder Bamboo Green. All of a sudden, two figures flew in the air. Immediately followed were two loud splashes. The Wang brothers had fallen into the Luo River, one from each side of the gangboard. It almost seemed as if the old man was a big leather bag filled with air, and when the two Wang brothers bumped into it, they simply bounced right back. The old man kept his slow pace and went tottering off the gangboard onto the bank, as if nothing had happened. As soon as the Wang brothers fell into the river, the crowd aboard the boat broke into chaos. Several sailors jumped into the river in a hurry and dragged the two out of the water. It was still early in the spring. Even though all the ice in the river had melted, the river was still icy cold. Neither of the Wang brothers knew how to swim, so they both drank a good mouthful of water, their teeth shuddering nonstop. Both of the brothers found themselves in a very embarrassing situation. I think we all saw that coming. Yeah, we all knew that guy had really good martial arts. So these two Wang brothers had nothing on him. In shock, Wang Yuanba checked his two grandsons, but what he saw astounded him even more. The four arms of the two brothers were all dislocated at the shoulder joints and elbow joints, which looked exactly the same as how they had broke Ling Hucheng's arms the other day. Their arms hanging by their sides, the two brothers still spilled out streams of abuses wildly. Seeing what had happened to his two sons, Wang Chongqiang leapt off the boat onto the bank and blocked Elder Bamboo Green's way. But Elder Bamboo Green still kept his slow pace, his back arched, his head bending low. "Who are you? Are you here to make trouble for the Wang family in Luoyang?" Wang Chongqiang yelled. Elder Bamboo Green kept walking as if he had not heard anything. Slowly, he came closer and closer toward Wang Chongqiang. Everyone aboard the boat had their eyes fixed on the two as Elder Bamboo Green stepped closer and closer to Wang Chongqiang, who extended his arms slightly out and blocked in the middle of the road. Gradually, the distance between the two shortened from 10 feet to 5 feet, and then from 5 feet to 3 feet. As Elder Bamboo Green took another step forward, Wang Chongqiang yelled, "Enough!" He reached out with his two hands and smacked them down at Elder Bamboo Green's back in claw hands. Just when his fingers were about to touch Elder Bamboo Green's back, all of a sudden his giant body flew in the air for tens of feet. Amid the gasps and screams of the crowd, he did a backflip in the air and then landed on the ground steadily. When two persons ran toward each other in high speed, it would not be surprising if one of them flew in the air like this from the colliding force. But what seemed very strange was the fact that Wang Chongqiang stood still, while Elder Bamboo Green closed in on him very slowly, yet was still able to send him flying in the air from the colliding force. Even elite fighters like Yue Buchun or Wang Yuanba had no clue as to what techniques the old man used to bump people into flying in the air like that. Since Wang Chongqiang landed so steadily, without any sign of sore straits, people in the crowd who didn't know any martial arts skills actually thought that he had leapt up all by himself to show off his qinggong. The many servants and chairmen put their hands together and cheered happily. Many couldn't wait to start praising the superb martial arts skills Master Wang had just put on display. Are you guys trying to find that idiom? The spleen idiom? Yeah, what does it say in the book? In Chinese. I'm very curious. Wang Yuanba had been greatly surprised when he had found out that the elder Bamboo Green dislocated his two grandsons' arms so easily in a bump without even batting an eyelid. He figured that he could achieve the same effect himself, but it would have been very forceful and overwhelming, never as subtle as the way the old man did it, and never as swift either. By the time he saw his son sent into the air from the bump, it was no longer surprise in his heart, but rather terror. He knew very well that this second son of his had mastered all of his skills and techniques. Not only could he wield a saber in an unruffled yet fierce manner, his skills in fighting barehanded and his accomplishments in inner energy were also very adequate, no less than what he himself had achieved in the prime of his life. But before the two even exchanged one move, his son had already been knocked flying in the air. That was something he had never seen in his life. Noticing that his son wanted to run back for a fight, after the setback, he called out immediately, "Zhongqiang, come here!" Wang Chongqiang turned around and leapt back on board, spitting on the floor angrily. He cussed resentfully. "What a stinking old rascal! He probably knows some kind of witchcraft!" "How do you feel? Any injuries?" Wang Yuanba asked in a whisper. Wang Chongqiang shook his head. "Wang Yuanba, pondered upon the situation, but only concluded that it was likely that he still lacked enough skills to take on this old man. And if he asked Yue Buchun to fight the old man together with him, it would be no glory winning the fight. So the best way out probably would be pretending that nothing had happened and just get on with it. The old man did show some mercy by not wounding his son or throwing his son off balance. That had already saved him from losing face. He watched the elder Bamboo Green slowly walking away, his heart filled with some kind of indescribable discomfort. This old man, of course, is a friend of Ling Hu Chong, he thought to himself. And because my grandsons broke Ling Hu Chong's 2 arms, he came to get even by breaking their arms. I have ruled the martial arts society in the Luoyang region for all my life. Could it be possible that I am destined to fall hard in my old age? By then, Wang Bofen had both his two nephews' dislocated parts back in place. 2 sedan chairs carried the 2 dripping wet young men back to their home. Mr. Yue, do you know who he is? I am so dim-sighted from my old age. I couldn't tell who that elite was at all. Wang Yuanba glanced at Yue Buchun and asked. Chong, who is he? Yue Buchun asked. He is Elder Bamboo Green, Ling Hu Chong answered. Wang Yuanba and Yue Buchun both uttered a cry of surprise. Even though they both went to that small alley the other day, neither of them had a chance to meet Elder Bamboo Green face to face. And it just happened that the only one who would be able to recognize Elder Bamboo Green, Mr. Yi, decided to see the guests off at the gate of the Wang house instead of coming to the wharf. That was why no one had a clue as to who this old man was. What did he give you? Pointing at the package, wrapped in blue cloth, Yue Buchun asked. I haven't opened it yet, Ling Hu Chong answered. He opened the package and found a short zither inside. The zither's body looked ancient and obsolete. Obviously, the zither was an invaluable antique. 2 characters, Yan Yu, in ancient script, were carved on the tail of the zither. Inside the package was also a booklet with the words Song of Peace and Serenity written on the cover. Feelings of gratitude swelled Ling Hu Chong's heart. He couldn't help but let out a cry of joy. What? What? Yue Buchun stared at him and asked. This senior master not only gave me a zither, but also copied down the entire music score for me, Ling Hu Chong explained. He turned the booklet open and flipped through it. Every page was filled with beautiful calligraphy in small fonts. Not only were there words and symbols recording the music tone, there were also a great deal of notes and comments explaining in detail about the fingering techniques and various keynotes about zither play in general. The papers and the ink prints all looked new. Apparently, the granny had just hand-printed the entire booklet. Deeply moved by the granny's affectionate love and care, Ling Hu Chong found tears rolling in his eyes. Wang Yuanba and Yue Buchun saw with their own eyes that the booklet only contained techniques relating to zither play, and some of the strange characters and symbols were indeed similar to the ones inside the Smiling Proud Wanderer booklet. Although there were still many suspicions in their hearts, they had nothing else to add. A true master never reveals his abilities unless necessary. Who would have thought that this Elder Bamboo Green is actually an elite from the martial world? Chong, do you know which school or clan he is from? Yue Buchun asked. He had figured that even if Ling Hu Chong did know the answer, he would still not tell the truth. But he asked anyway, for it disturbed him very much to not know any details about such an elite fighter with such superb kung fu skills. Not to his surprise, Ling Hu Chong answered, I only studied zither from this senior master. I didn't even know he had martial arts skills. After Yue Buchun and Madame Yue bid their farewell to Wang Yuanba and the Wang Bofen, Wang Chongqiang brothers, the boat set sail toward the north and soon were hundreds of feet away from the shore. The many apprentices soon engaged each other into a heated discussion. Wait, how much do we have left? Oh, just a little bit. Some were convinced that Elder Bamboo Green had unusually superb kung fu skills, while some others believed that nothing could prove that the old man had great skills. The young Wang brothers only fell into the river because of their recklessness, and Wang Chongjiang only leapt away because he didn't want to take the old man up on it. Ling Huchong sat at the back of the boat to read the music score by himself, having no interest listening to the discussion among his junior apprentice brothers and sisters. Following the directions from the booklet, he lay his finger on the strings and felt the keys. Afraid to disturb his master and master wife, he only practiced the positioning and didn't really make any sound. The boat was heading in the same direction as the wind and the wave, thus gained some good speed. Madame Yue walked to the bow and tried to enjoy the scenery, but that didn't help her get rid of the image of the odd-looking elder Bamboo Green in her head at all. Many disquieting thoughts surged in her mind when suddenly her husband's voice rose next to her ear. "What do you think of that elder Bamboo Green?" This question was the exact same one she had wanted to ask her husband. So even though he had asked it first, she still asked, "What do you think of him?" "That old man's technique was so unusual and strange. Without even moving his arms or legs, he was still able to knock the 3 members of the Wang family of flying far in the air. I'd have to say that his techniques aren't from any orthodox school," Yue Buchun answered. "But he seems to be very nice to Chong, and it didn't look like he was intentionally making trouble for the Golden Blade Wang family," Madame Yue remarked. "I hope this is the end of it, or else the great reputation Grandmaster Wang had built up throughout his entire life might be at the very brink of ruin." Yue Buchun heaved a sigh. He paused for a good while before speaking again. "Even though we are continuing our journey by water now, it is still wise to be cautious." "Are you saying that someone might come aboard to make trouble?" Madame Yue inquired. Yue Buchun shook his head. "We are still kept in the dark. We still have no idea who those 15 masked assassins are and where they came from. We are in the light while our enemy is still in the dark. Our journey might not be as peaceful as we'd like it to be." Ever since Yue Buchun became the headmaster of the Huashan Sword School, he had never experienced any serious setbacks until recently. But in the last couple of months, he had realized there was a good chance that many difficulties were awaiting them in the road ahead. But who was the enemy, and what did the enemy want? He couldn't find an answer. Just because of this clueless feeling, he was laden with more and more anxiety. That day, the Yue couple urged their apprentices again and again to be on good guard days and nights. But as time went by, their boats entered the main river from near the Zhigong County and then headed east following the flow of the river. Not even one accident happened. The further away they were from the Luoyang, the more relaxed each one became. And before long, the vigilance gradually slacked away. Done! Chapter 13, Part 2. Finished. Did you guys like that chapter? I liked it. It was a peaceful chapter, right? I think we needed that after like 2 chapters ago where a lot of shit happened. Dun, dun, dun. So what do you think, chat? Do you think that old lady is an old lady? I think no one thinks that. I think everyone in the chat was like, nope, that is definitely not an old lady. Drift says we should learn how to play the zither. Yeah, you do it. Do it and show us, Drift. Nope, no cliffhanger today. They can't do that every chapter, right? That would be very cruel. But he's learning to play the zither. Maybe in the future he'll be like really good, and he'll play a Smiling Proud Wanderer. That would be something. A magical old lady, maybe? What do you mean by magical old lady? What do you mean? Like, is she immortal? Maybe she can shapeshift. Gabriel thinks young sounding Granny will be back. Maybe. You like the music aspect? Yeah. I mean, he describes it in very, the music in very colorful language. All right. Let's take a shot before we go. Dun, 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 dun. Oh no, Nikki, you're right. What if he writes a love song for Yue Ling Shan? It seems like that's something he would do. Please don't do it. That would be very embarrassing. I don't know if I can read that part. All right. Cheers. Good stuff. Ugh. Does the song Smiling Proud Wanderer exist in real life? Nope, it does not. Although if you listen to the 1984 theme song of the TV series, it sounds really good. I really like that song. Dun, 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 dun. Went down like jagged fire. It is called a fireball. Alright guys, I'll see you next week. Alright. Bye. I love you. Good night. Ending.